It's wonderful. We moved from landlocked Illinois. We lived in cornfields. So I'm Valerie's family.
Wow, that was a lot of fun. I've been waiting to do that all time. All right, thank you everybody for coming to our probably first ever outdoor special town meeting. I'm April, town clerk. Our select board is over here, Donna Curry, Kim Lynch, and Lisa Jonathan. And I'm just gonna have our fire chief Stacy kick it off with the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag is over there. Some of you who are standing can see it. I'm gonna see it with my heart.
Flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nice job, Stacy.
Yeah. So for anyone who hasn't been here, which I don't think it's any of you, but there are bathrooms in the community room if you need them. There's also water from the sink, which is potable, and cups and anything you need in the community room. So I'm going to kick this off by reading the beginning of the warrant. And the first thing we're going to do is elect a moderator. So when we get to that point, I'll have ballots ready. We have to do it by written ballot by state law. So y'all are going to have to file up here, fill out a ballot and put it in there. And then we'll elect the moderator. We get started on the rest of the warrant. So I'm going to read this little formal greeting in Article 1. In the name of the state of Maine, you are hereby required to notify and warn the inhabitants of the town of Westport Island in said county and state qualified by law to vote in town affairs to assemble at the town office on Wednesday, the 17th day of September, 2025 AD at 6 p.m. Then and there to act on Articles 1 through 3 as set out below. To wit, Article 1, to choose a moderator to preside at said meeting. So if folks would not mind lining up over here, we've got pens. We have one declared candidate, which is Chris Cooper, who's our usual moderator who has come down here. But if anybody would like to nominate themselves or someone else from the floor at this point, there is a write-in space, so we can elect another moderator if someone's just dying to do that. What about crickets? Really? Okay. All right. All right. These are your ballots. Chris Cooper's name is on there. He's our only candidate. No, I'll pass. Oh, yeah, I put them in my bag.
All right. I don't need to sign it or anything.
Nope, please don't.
Hold it.
Yeah, maybe a couple times.
Well, yeah. No. State law. Anytime you.
Oh, my goodness.
No,
Where are we going? We're going.
It's kind of fun.
I did.
Yeah.
Because.
I want to hold up the line.
Wanna go get a line of meeting?
Okay.
Here, I have.
Oh, you know.
I can't bend over like this.
I at the moment. So I might as well.
That doesn't surprise me.
There you go.
Yep.
How long have you all been here? Okay, dog. Summer full time.
Yep.
So you're prepared. You hear something?
Yeah, yeah, they little funny answers. Oh, I don't know. Him and,
I was gonna ask you. It's the same property that.
Are we doing these? April.
We're gonna live in it right next
Oh,
door.
stuff right in there.
Familiar with the kind of up by the pool?
Yep.
Yeah, where they do the alpaca yoga.
Our houses are on.
I got
Easier said than done.
now,
I know, we're getting a little full.
appointment and she's not back yet. I'm hoping she'll make it.
Yeah.
My tank lost. I was. I normally would have. Yeah, I looked at my phone to see if he's got the whole thing yet.
Yep.
You gotta put a little photos actually.
But there are,
Oh.
there are.
We're usually at the town hall in the nice big ballot.
Yeah.
He's got her.
Oh, yeah.
But there's more houses. One is just a summer. They're just here.
This is it, no?
We just had someone move in this week to the other house that are not these days. So it's kind of fun to have new neighbors.
Are they around?
They are, they will, be. They moved. to Pennsylvania.
Stuff.
About an hour ago, so I don't think they want to do me.
Yeah, you go.
I would call them. They're still spry and busy and I see them, they seem busier than me, the amount of stuff they're doing, like, all right, good for you.
I didn't get one yet.
Very good. What do you do when you put the nine goal, I think where the.
There's a lot of.
On the hill or
Me too. You're such a popular one.
Yeah, when I played.
Right, right. I felt like I got permission, but I didn't think.
There it is. Dry.
It's like it was important to get to the area. I told you, I figure out where the benefits are.
I stayed up to the top of the hill and then I.
And he never told me. Definitely made me feel like. So where'd you go?
So, you know, we asked
Start
about
collecting.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, okay. They always want everybody to hang out there.
So many more in there. Nobody will never-
So.
Thank you. I showered. Oh my God. Oh, they were.
Nice truck for the sign. Oh, the hammer? Yeah, yeah, hey, Ron.
Yeah, design build.
Down by the,
No, exactly.
yeah, so I know, no, the sign where you actually work, you're doing work.
Oh,
Yeah, party code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it
Done that
pretty
way.
cool?
You must have been.
No, I didn't see it. It's already down
Hanging under
the.
like a.
Very.
Prom.
Well.
Oh, he put one down? Oh, there's that. Front pole.
Yeah.
Get all the way up to the top. Oh, that one's,
We.
yeah, you gotta go with Cliff. That's a crazy.
Wait, so not Rumco, like that, where the Rumco entrance is, there's that road that goes
All the way
down.
to the top.
Like that?
Is this a new?
Yep, so I usually, I just.
No, no, we have. That, then we have one on.
Fire.
Beat up the guy.
Court. Why?
No.
Characters. Jason, they're good though.
They get on the meter.
Well, yeah, he's Vince put it on our.
Yeah, yeah, he's, I'm like, dude, you're from Maine? He's like, yeah. He's like, you're like. But he's very knowledgeable, very thorough. Yeah, and they show up.
Well, he's down at, he's right there. Yeah, he did art.
Yeah, plus he's a good friend of mine. What's that? No,
It's a small network.
He sends a couple of other guys.
So, because every year,
Oh, yeah.
Really? We never made something like that. What are you gonna say now?
Gross.
Oh my God.
All right, it's Chris Cooper by a landslide. So Chris, come get your gavel. You're on, my friend. Oh, yeah? You want a recount? I mean, it's only 36, it won't take long.
You already drove here.
I will uphold the Constitution of this state and of the United States for so long as I shall remain a citizen thereof. More to the point for you people, I will carry out the duties incumbent upon me as moderator to the best of my ability.
Thank you.
Need an oath, but I don't care. You don't care, I don't care. Okay, usually I get it granted live. I'm willing if that's how we do it down here
Don't miss.
on the coast. Whoop. Okay, there are a number of procedural items, pieces of information that these people who know much more than I do about the running of your affairs have brought to help you get through this. So, I will read the article that you will be discussing and voting on. To get it on the floor, I don't look for a motion until you hear from them, whatever they may have to offer. So. And this is really the only article. You can do it two ways. You can say, look, it's a special meeting, it's one article, it's a nice summer night, let's just approve it and go home. Or we can make it a marathon and get in next week. Each paper. I get a flat rate. I'm here for the duration. So, Article 2, to see if the town will establish the office of Deputy Code Enforcement Officer and authorize the Select Board to appoint up to 2 Deputy Code Enforcement Officers for terms of 1 year as they deem necessary. The Select Board may determine each Deputy CEO's specific responsibilities and work hours, may supervise each Deputy CEO's work and remove a Deputy CEO from office for cause and after notice and hearing. The authority and duties of the Deputy CEO shall be determined by the Select Board and shall include assisting the CEO in the performance of his or her duties as directed by the CEO, administering and enforcing Westport Island land use ordinances, the main shoreland zoning law, and any other ordinance or law that the CEO is authorized to administer or enforce. The authority granted under this article shall remain in force from year to year unless revised or rescinded by the town meeting. After you receive such information as these ladies have brought you, somebody remind me to ask for a motion. Yours.
So
With
this came to be, what's that? You should stand up. I should stand. Can't everybody see me already? So somebody came to us, Joe Dickatanen came to us and said, you know, if ever you need any, an extra CEO or, you know, deputy CEO, I'd be more than willing, I'd be interested in the position. And we were thinking about all the building that's going on, we thinking about the reval, and we said, oh, that's not a bad idea to at least think about. So April ended up doing some research to say, is it possible to have a second deputy CEO? And what she found out at that time was that we actually don't even legally have a deputy CEO. That by law, the town has to approve the deputy CEO, and that was never done. So at this point in time, the deputy CEO that we have, and there's absolutely nothing critical, we're not criticizing anybody, we're just saying that by law, we do not have the authority to have a deputy CEO at this point in time. So we realized that we needed to, as soon as possible, make this legal so that our deputy CEO could continue to do the work that he's doing. When we talked to MMA, the main municipal association, they actually wrote this for us. So the reason there's so much legalese in here, it's because of MMA. So basically what we realized that we wanted to take the opportunity, if somebody came to us and said, I'm actually interested in this position, that it would be a help. To have a second CEO, the second deputy CEO, doesn't cost the town any money. Our present deputy CEO and any deputy CEO gets paid when they do whatever job they're doing. So it's not like it would cost the town any money. The training is free. But one, we need to make sure that our present CEO, deputy CEO is legal. At this present time is not. And that is, could hurt the town. If ever there were a lawsuit, if somebody wanted to say, you know, somebody said something to us and we don't agree, but he's not legally part of the town. So, we decided we needed to do this quickly. And while we need to legalize the present deputy CEO, we thought at least put out there that, you know, we'd like the opportunity to maybe have a second CEO as well.
Deputy CEO.
Second deputy CEO, I'm sorry, I keep saying CEO, it's deputy CEO. So that's the reasoning behind this, and we knew we needed to take care of it soon because the deputy CEO is taking care of things right now, and we'd like for him to continue to do that. This doesn't impact Gary's job at all. It doesn't, the present CEO, it doesn't impact the present deputy CEO. It just makes it legal. And right now, we're not. Thoughts or, oh, no. I'm done.
I'm shocked. Rampant illegality that goes on down here in these damn coastal fishing villages. However, they're paying me to moderate, so moderate I shall.
Get a motion.
One point that may be of value to some of you. I understand the taxes have been committed for this year and nobody likes taxes. Any discussion of how awful expensive it is to live here and how much, and please ladies fault, will not receive favor from the moderator tonight. What I'm looking for is questions and opinions about whether or not you wish to legalize your current deputy code enforcement officer and give them the opportunity to appoint a second should they feel the need arises. So with that preamble, give me a motion, a positive motion in this contentious age on this article. Anybody?
Move good.
You move the article as read? Do I have a second?
Yes. Okay.
I have a couple seconds. So, discussion? Anybody's thoughts? Yep.
What does the CEO, deputy CEO currently do? On a daily basis, what do they do?
Actually, I would love for, Gary, as CEO, would you like to sort of, share some of your thoughts?
Sure, I mean, the code enforcement officer's position is basically the process applications that come before the town. When application is received, there's that. And first we review to make sure all information that's required is submitted. Then there's sometimes communication between the applicant, myself, or Ron. Then there's a site visit, and, if everything is, in compliance with the regulations, the permit is issued. And then sometimes there's follow-up on more complicated projects. There's also a number of informational, duties. I do a lot of employees from, real estate agents, builders, various, suspected property, purchasers, that want to familiarize themselves with the rules that are in place and what can be done with their property. A lot of questions about, zoning, and generally it's a liaison between the rules that are in place and citizens on the island.
And right now, you're not legal for you to be doing what you're doing until we voted in?
No, I think the issue that Donna was referring to was the position of deputy. Yes.
Okay, so you would need help with what you're doing. is it?
Well, we've had a deputy code officer, position was created back in the, it's just, this thing that started that, maybe it should have been created to create that position.
One of the questions for you guys. I'm.
Louder,
Yeah, louder if you can.
louder.
Building codes not important.
The whole bit, what you're talking about?
Not only the building, but I would be.
That would be the movement.
Okay.
Basically, the extra language hasn't voted to be incorporated into the ordinance. Currently, state statutes allow towns under 4,000 in population. Enforcing of the code is not known. Well, it's been brought up at, and all of the town building.
So if somebody gets a building from, safely. Building permit, and all we're doing is paying a fee, we're not getting a service for it.
No, that's what, well, from the homeowner's perspective, that, think it's somewhat, so you're not getting an inspector to be from work confidence. So you can just review it on structural engineering. If you wanna have a code officer doing that, yeah.
Right.
Another problem with the, it may not be quite as critical today. In years past, a lot of the housing stock here is old, and a lot of times if I would go to a site and do a structural assessment. So you've got a 4x6 timber for storage, and you want to put a 2-inch plumbing pipe in, and ceiling, you can't do it. And I thought, when you have to build a whole holding ceiling down to it's like that, it's not, so I can see it, but the man is, the person, I think it's, adding a lot of,
So primarily, the codes that we're talking about, that's one of them. That it's not being.
I'm responsible for the town zone. So the town land use order, which involves 2 lot coverage, building heights.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else questions for your current code enforcement officer?
No question.
Okay, right here, speak up.
Do you? Obviously, not obviously, but do you do the inspection for electrical, plumbing? And do you give COs for the new buildings?
Town does not require CO. That would have to be a requirement. Approved the town. Plumbing inspections, that's a completely separate division. That's done by the licensed plumbing. Probably happens to be. Electrical inspections.
Thank you. Yeah,
I
right
have
here.
a question for the select board.
Yeah.
So you said that this is not something that the people of the town have to pay for, but I'm just curious, how are the code enforcement officers paid?
They're paid, basically by permit, right now, permit fees. So when you, if you're gonna build something, there's a cost and that cost is, which is a challenge because just today, we had to ask Gary to come and check on something. It wasn't a permit. We want to make sure that it was appropriate. But he wound up spending an hour and a half, but he didn't get paid for it. Thank you for doing that, Gary. And so those kinds of things, he doesn't even get paid for. But he doesn't because we've asked him to check on something. But typically his pay is based on the permits. Whether
Okay.
it's a peer permit or a building permit, that's, so there was nothing, if you, and I know everybody remembered the town warrant and all the articles there. There was nothing in there that said that we're gonna pay the CEO, and both the CEO and the deputy CEO are paid by permit.
Okay, so I just wanted to be clear. So this article is approving a CEO and two deputy
No, it is
CEO?
only approving, the deputy CEO.
Okay.
Up to, yeah, his position is fine.
Okay,
And appreciate Gary. It's not like this, it just has nothing to do with Gary or the work that he's doing or anything else. We're trying to make this legal. And we found out when we started asking questions that we weren't legal about it. So
so we don't have a deputy
we
CEO?
do have
Oh,
a
we do have-
deputy CEO,
okay.
but he's not
Okay.
legal.
Okay,
What-
all right.
what
I-
we discovered. That's what we're trying to do.
So how do you determine who, like, by doing this, are you gonna try to spread the work? Because it sounds like a lot of it's volunteer.
Well,
So is that
hopefully
why-
we'll be volunteer, but we anticipate, especially with the revaluation coming, we expect there to be a lot more issues and concerns and maybe after the fact permitting. And Gary works a full-time job.
Yeah.
And he takes care of permitting. And the deputy CEO right now pretty much takes care of things when Gary goes on vacation or whatever. Or has a conflict of interest. Gary does work on the island. If he does work on the island, he can't issue a permit for his own work. So we really have to have a deputy CEO, or Gary doesn't get to do any work on the island. We don't want that. I mean, Gary's done work for me, so I appreciate. And by the way, he's done great work. So we need the deputy to be able to support Gary, and there are a couple ways that happens.
And you see this continuing to be a paid by permit position, all of these positions?
That would be something I think that we would look at in the future, but this has nothing to do with this right now,
Mhm.
right? I think we would have to look over time, and especially with the revaluation coming. Does it wind up that we're winding up asking people to do a lot more and they're never getting paid because they're not getting a permit for it? Like today when Gary went out, because it wasn't a permit and there wasn't a permit needed, he actually did that work and didn't get paid for it. But And we have talked about that in the past, but right now, and when we also talk about not paying, the training is free. There is training that would be involved, so whatever, if we got a second deputy CEO, that person would need to be trained, as well. And that training is free.
What would be the process if we do end up if the town does end up wanting to pay?
If the town gets a second, CEO, what we do is advertise it, and put it out to. Yeah, it's advertising, posting, and yes, we would hope that Joe would sign, apply, but anybody who's interested in that position. Apply, but it's your answer, I have to.
Oh,
It
so
would,
it would
it would
be-
become a warrant item, just like
Okay.
all of the volunteers, volunteers that we have at the town now get paid. Yes.
So if there was,
Stipend.
so if there was a change in the way they're paid, it would have to come in front of the town.
It would come
Okay.
to the town. I'm sorry.
That's okay, thank you.
She appreciates Gary, and I appreciate Gary, because my selectmen several years ago decided the local talent was no good. Hired a guy from out of town, $260 a week, whether there's work or not. He's cleaning up. If you can keep your jobs in town, local people that know the town, they're worth what you pay them and more. Anybody else on this issue? Yes, ma'am.
So who has been our current legal deputy CEO? How long has he been illegally doing this?
You've been illegal. Did you start in 1980? Is that what I heard? No, 2019. Wow.
I don't remember when I started doing that.
Well, as long as he's been illegal.
And does he not have interest in doing it?
Oh, he's still gonna do it. He's still gonna.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Just have to be. Yeah. We have to make it legal by the town saying,
Okay.
yes, we can have deputy CEO.
So.
You realize how close you are to being deported?
Here tonight is to discuss for a deputy CEO
Yes.
like Ron,
Yes.
to make him legal so
Yep.
that he is now already.
To have the
So
opportunity. to
we are not
possibly have a
voting
second.
on a second CEO as well.
We are.
We are.
The opportunity to, we figured while we're doing this. Instead of waiting till possibly next year, and we're in the middle of a reval and we realize we need more help, we're asking, can we have,
But I
Up to
mean,
two.
so far up to this date, we have not needed anybody else to be in another deputy CEO. I mean, so far, we've covered the areas we've needed, so why do we need to appoint another
we're in
deputy at this time?
two reasons. One, we're anticipating, more work.
We're not there yet.
And we don't want to wait until it's too late and backlog. And
Foresee our
Um,
building permits going up in cost because of this.
but one of the things that we've been working on, I should say April's been working on, is to try to make sure that we have the right forms for all the different things. Right now, you do a building permit if you want to do something with your driveway. You need a building permit if you want to, no matter what you're doing, pretty much.
It just makes me nervous because what I foresee is that the town's gonna start upping the cost of building permits and they're gonna start nickel dime.
Yeah.
We don't have right now.
Right now, you're paying, but when you do that permit, that's where that money is going. Is to pay him. And whether we had one or two or three, for example, when Gary does his work, Gary gets paid. If
Right.
it's Ron that does it instead of Gary,
Exactly.
Gary doesn't get paid.
But my fear is
Ron
that
gets paid.
the permits are gonna start doubling in cost because we've got one extra person to support.
But we're not
Somebody-
paying that person unless he's doing the work. So if
But
you
if you
have,
have an extra person doing the work, why wouldn't you? I mean, it seems to make sense that you'd wanna generate more cost and
no, the more cost is coming from the additional permits that we're expecting.
I just wanna make sure that's
Yeah, yeah,
not the reason we're looking at.
yeah, no, no, we're
I
not
do
looking.
have one other question now. And now it's still. Oh, right,
Yes,
okay, and your wife is also on the appeals board, correct?
Yeah.
So I think she would have to step down as well from the appeals board because that would be a conflict of interest if he did. In fact, become deputy CEO.
That could be, that would be something we would have to research.
Well, according
yeah.
to our
Yeah.
That is true.
statute for,
Yeah,
Westport,
if that's the case, but again,
under committee descriptions,
Yeah.
that would be a conflict of interest.
yeah, and again, this does not assume, nothing personal, Joe,
That's
but,
fine.
you
No,
know,
I know, it's not
be
nothing
posted and
I mean, I'm just saying.
advertised.
There would be a conflict of interest there. I just want to
Yeah,
bring
yeah.
that to your attention. That's
And yes, and we appreciate that, yeah. Yeah, yeah. We'll try to give them a discount, right. Right, it is showing.
Yeah, right here.
I think you actually should have one more person, because while this person is in working, he gets trained. And I remember the situation where Jerry Bodmer resigned. On that question, who is going to replace him, I was told, very difficult to find people. So if you have people working right now and learning on the job, when he's old enough, like me, and retires, the next one can step in.
Right, yep.
So it's basically well spent money.
That was definitely part of our thinking, because, some point in time, Don may want to retire, I don't know, he may want to do this for the rest of his life. But to have somebody on the island who's expressed an interest, we figure we would take advantage of that opportunity and go ahead, while we have to do this special town meeting anyway, to go ahead and ask not just for, to have a legal deputy, but to maybe have up to 2 legal deputies.
All right.
Then the last thing, I think they should be, they enjoy the job, they want the job. If you're doing the job, you get no money out of it. At one time, a few years ago, I checked out, he was getting $5,000 for a whole year in permits. If you divide that by 52, that's less than $100 a week. So I think that should be addressed.
That is something that we have considered, and we've actually talked to him about it, last year. But it's not anything that addresses this issue right now, so.
It's an important job. so
Yes,
should
it is,
be a-
it is very important, agreed.
I was just gonna add, briefly, talking generally about land use planning, but also planning board. That we roll out, yes, I review, some pages. And the CEO plays a role in vetting those applications and acting and quasi gatekeeping planning board. And he's at every one of our meetings, on time, and entering into a discussion regarding those applications. So, the board's job.
Land use, things, joint zoning, salaries. All of this stuff is indeed confusing if you're not waist deep in it. And the way to get immersed in that is to run for one of these jobs or be appointed to one of these jobs, and you get smart quick. Whoever mentioned on-the-job training is exactly right. I think it's you. I've been training as moderator for 50 years. Right there.
I didn't know what my thinking was, but now that, you mentioned it, and also where Gary mentioned it as well. If we're trying to keep everything legal, we're trying to make John's job legal, and the potential of bringing on a third code enforcement officer. So that in the future, and it's not necessarily from what I'm understanding, bringing on a third person right now, now we're just trying to make John's job legal. Right. However, we only have one plumbing inspector, and I remember the transition to trying to make sure that there was a deputy so that,
because when Jerry was leaving, we needed to rush and make sure that you were the deputy for Jerry and get you trained. So why are we not making sure that there is someone that could legally be a deputy for plumbing? Because if you're on vacation as well, none of the deputies for code enforcement can do plumbing.
Yeah, and I'm gonna let April answer that because I think she did the research. The plumbing inspector is different from the CEO.
Yeah.
April?
Well, two things. Ron is the deputy plumbing inspector. He also went and got certified
Right.
for that. So we do have a deputy. And that is something that this potential additional deputy CEO could also do. That you do not need to have a town meeting vote for. The deputy CEO position is a weird one. It's a special one. All of the town positions are described in state law, but deputy CEO is not. So that's why we have to do this. When we considered it and I was reading the manual, it said very clearly, must be appointed at a town meeting or by an ordinance, which has to be passed at a town meeting. And then I called up the MMA and I was like, really? We've had a deputy CEO forever. It's fine, right? And they're like, no, fix it immediately. But things like plumbing inspector are fully described, and deputy plumbing inspector is fully described in state law. So we don't need a town meeting vote just for this one position.
From my days as selectman, I can tell you that CEO, code enforcement officer, is as she describes it. But plumbing inspector is LPI, licensed plumbing inspector, and they're licensed by the state. So she's absolutely right. Anybody who has not spoken, yes, back row.
Another question, a couple of times you've referred to the fact that you're going to have this assessment on all properties in the town, and that's going to generate a requirement or more work for the code enforcement officer. Why is that?
We anticipate, we can't guarantee that. We anticipate it because, when the reval, the assessors come and, discover that there are maybe some after the fact permitting that needs to be done, somebody's got to go out and take care of that. If there are any issues or complaints or discrepancies, and that's just anticipated when there's a reval. So that, we're trying to be proactive and think about this before it happens. But that's just pretty much the norm when you do reval after 10 years of nobody looking at your property, and all of a sudden they come and look at it and discover, oh, okay, well, we had this done and this done and this done. And that's, we anticipate that being extra work for people.
So they're not looking for code violations necessarily according to the minimum code. They're looking for permitting issues for things that may have been done that would have not been permitted and should have.
Right. It's about permitting, yeah. Yep.
Okay, thanks.
You should still show the assessing agent your rotten floor joists, your single pane windows, your 40-year-old roof shingles, and the fact that grass will not grow in your yard. That's in your interest. I encourage everybody to do that. Who else? Somebody new? Or, yes, over here.
Just as a, person in construction and a member of a planning board, I'd like to say we're insanely lucky to have Gary. He's been a wealth of knowledge to us for things that we don't know of, when we're looking at a special permit. So he's been insanely helpful, and the fact that we have another deputy and we might have another deputy at a virtually no cost is something that other towns would dream of when they have a salaried employee that, may or not have other benefits that come at an extreme cost. So I just see this as a benefit to us, and the more oversight and support that Gary has, and the safer the town is, and say our building permits go up from $35 for a house, which I think is very low, that revenue goes to the town and lessens our taxes. So I think, having stronger enforcement makes a better and safer town. That's it.
Another hand? Illegal, Ron, isn't it?
Almost, we'll see.
This has been described as
having, I guess, two purposes. One to legalize me, and another, the other one to add on a second code enforcement, deputy code enforcement officer. But there's a lot more words in there than that. Why is that? Talking about being supervised and directing my hours. I don't- Why is it so complicated?
Because that's exactly how it is supposed to have to be already. This is not anything that, it's what already is. It's what our role is, but it was written by the MMA to make sure that, that we were following what we should be doing.
I'm not directing my hours now. I'm supervising my work. What does supervising my work mean? One of your friends doesn't get a permit? You're gonna fire me?
Actually, if somebody comes to us and complains about something that you've done or whatever, we would be, we haven't had that, so we haven't had to come to you and say, Ron, something's not right. But so, and the same with Gary. It's like, if there are issues with Gary and somebody complained to us, we would have to come to Gary and have a conversation, I think. We are technically, his supervisor.
So that, it does not mean that you would reverse a decision made by the code enforcement officer?
We would have a conversation with you and probably that would go before the board or, whatever else.
Yeah, that's not our job.
Yes, it's not our job to argue, it's
You
whether,
have the authority to take something to the appeal court.
say that again.
Yes, we do. But we also have, if we take a complaint about any issue on the island, we also are in a position where we could call you, Ron, and say, Ron, could you go take a look at this?
We actually have called you.
That's what directing your activities means. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean I'm calling to call you every week and tell you, you have to do this, 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 and this. It's just, it's the relationship between the select board and CEO and deputy CEOs that we kind of like
Because
flow back and forth.
because these terms of supervising and directing and setting my hours, Gary's hours is all in there. It sounded like you wanted to assert yourself more.
No. But we're the ones who call you when we need help this summer when Gary was on vacation, because that's who calls you and said, would you look at this and would you look at that? Today, we called Gary and said, Gary, would you look at this issue for us? Or, we sent an email. So in that way, we are, but we're not setting his hours. It's not like we're saying, Gary, you need to go check on this immediately today.
Why do you have the words in there about the hour?
Because by law, this is what, this is written by the main municipal association, not by us.
Yes.
This is what by law. It also says it's select board in May. I mean, you can, it doesn't mean that's what we're looking at.
I don't know how you put it in there unless you intend.
I'm gonna ask April to reiterate what she found out
Yeah.
when she looked into this issue.
Well, I mean, even in a broader sense, not just in researching this issue, but the select board is the employer of all the town officials, of me, of Ashley, yes, of Gary, of Ron. You elected them. That's one of their duties in state law, is to be the employer. Now, we don't have an HR process. They don't do reviews, and they've never had to discipline anybody or fire anybody because everyone's doing a great job. But yes, they are very much our employers, and that includes Gary and Ron. That's the way it is in every town. That's state law. So what's written in this article isn't anything unusual. The MMA lawyer wanted to write it up and describe it carefully to make sure it was clear. This is the relationship. This is the deputy CEO, basically, not exactly job description, but relationship with the select board, because this one isn't described in state law. State law is very clear about everybody else. We're the employees of the select board, but the deputy CEO, as I said before, is not written up. So when she writes it up for a town to create this position, she fills in all those blanks and makes sure it's clear that the relationship between the select board and the deputy CEO is employer-employee. I hope that clarifies.
Difference is, I work with you people. They got nothing on me, except they're the paymaster. Have a hand over here, yeah.
Make a motion to close the session and have a vote.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. To close debate on that question only. Are we done talking as the shades of night are falling or not? If you wish to close debate and move to a vote on the issue, show me your green cards. And if you oppose that and would like to go into the wee hours, you, sir, are outvoted. Sorry, that's the way it is. And you. Okay, all right, by near unanimous agreement, there'll be no more discussion of the article. I won't read it again because a lot of the discussion has been about the complexity and annoyance of the language, but I think you all know where you stand. Those persons voting in favor of Article 2, as I read it to you, to establish the legal position of Deputy Code Enforcement Officer, of whom you now have one, and to make it possible, if in the future it should become necessary or advisable, to have a second Deputy Code Enforcement Officer, please again, show me your green cards, if you're in favor. Not going to count them just yet. If you're opposed, put the hands down. If you're opposed, show me your cards. And by a considerable majority, the article passes. Now, having conducted all the business that may legally come before a town meeting, the only further motion I may accept will be a motion to adjourn if someone wishes to make it. And second, we have a motion to adjourn. If you favor it, head for your vehicles, but not before expressing your love and appreciate it. And know that by your action tonight, you have snatched poor Ron back from the brink of God knows what country of deportation you've never heard of. Thank you very much. We're done.